The infamous anti-hero Deadpool first appeared in The New Mutants '98 in February 1991. Created by writer Fabian Nicieza and Rob Liefeld. Initially introduced as a villain, Deadpool grew in popularity because of his reckless personality and humor, becoming a fan favorite in no time. Besides the comics, he's appeared in various animated TV shows, video games, and live-action films. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's portrayed by the remarkable Ryan Reynolds in 3 of the films. The recent release even shows him teaming up with Wolverine to save his world. Although the films only showcase a number of characters associated with Deadpool, the comics tell the story of his whole family tree, and we're here to map out every member of Deadpool's family for you. So let's begin with the one and only. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Deadpool. Deadpool is also known as Wade Wilson, and is famous for his sense of humor and unpredictable behavior, among other things. He used to be morally ambiguous, with little regard for others, but as a result of the inversion spell, he regained his conscience to the extent that he felt awful when someone was being verbally assaulted. He's a loyal friend to Weasel and Blind Al, but occasionally mistreats them, like when he stabbed Weasel in the leg and left Blind Al in a room full of sharp objects. His early life is quite mysterious, as he remembers various versions of his childhood, where his parents separated. He apparently ran away from home to prevent his mother from bearing the burden of raising him. Later, it was revealed that his parents were still together in Canada and kept Wade's room as it is, but Wade failed to recognize it. He served in the military but was discharged for reasons linked to his inability to follow orders. He worked for several shady businesses, and one of his professions involved being an assassin to an arms dealer. Despite being an assassin, he usually helped the good people deal with the bad ones while claiming that he wasn't a hero. Wade falls in love with a prostitute named Vanessa Carlysle, who's also his love interest in the films, and his hope for living a normal life sparked again. The relationship came to an end when he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, which led him to seek desperate measures for survival. He then joined the Weapon X program, in the hopes that their experimental treatments would cure his cancer. In this program, he was subjected to intense physical and psychological torture, which left him horribly scarred and mentally unstable. As a result of the experiment, Wade's cancer was cured and he gained superhuman healing powers, where his body can regenerate from almost any kind of injury. He also gained enhanced strength and reflexes while becoming immune to most poisons and diseases. Already an expert in hand-to-hand combat, Wade is known to be proficient in martial arts and a wide range of weapons. One of the most exceptional traits Deadpool possesses is breaking the fourth wall, which reveals that he's well aware of being a fictional character in a comic book or film. His meta-commentary, pop culture references amidst the battle, and dialogues directly addressed to the audiences or readers are the most fun to watch or read. Thomas Wilson, father. As Deadpool's origin has been rewritten several times, his background history has changed frequently, and so is the story of his parents. In some version, he abandons his family, while in some, he's an abusive father. In the reality of Earth 616, during the original Sin event, Deadpool gets influenced by an antagonist named Butler, who administers mind-wiping drugs to Deadpool, making him forget his parents. Manipulated by Butler, Deadpool kills his father. Haley Wilson, mother. With changes in his origins, Deadpool's mother's story also changed several times. In one version, she died when Wade was 5 years old, leaving Wade to be raised by an angry and alcoholic mother. He isn't able to recognize her and kills her along with his father under the influence of Butler. Jennifer Kale, Swamp Queen, wife. Jennifer Kale, also known as the Swamp Queen, is a significant figure in the Marvel Universe, as the descendant of the cult of Zerid Na, and a powerful sorceress. She first appeared in Adventure into Fear 11, 1972, and has been associated with various supernatural as well as magical plots, often connecting with characters like Doctor Strange and Man-Thing. She possesses extensive knowledge of the occult and magic, with skills in spellcasting, teleportation, and even dimensional traveling, which makes her a valuable ally. When Deadpool entered Weird World, the magical dimension, for a mission to kill an accountant, he became involved in the politics of this realm. Kale ended up rescuing him, became his ally, and the romance bloomed between the two. They even got married, and their relationship lasted for years due to the different time pace in this world. However, when Deadpool completes his mission, he simply escapes the Weird World, leaving a revengeful Kale behind. Shiklah, wife. First appearing in Deadpool The Gauntlet 3, 2014, Shiklah possesses superhuman strength and endurance. She can transform into a giant dragon-like creature, manipulate dark magic, and drain the life force from others. Shiklah and her family used to rule the world before the existence of humans, but their kingdom was overthrown by vampires who sought a war. Her brothers Amjad and Bakr died as a repercussion, so her father sealed her away in a coffin until the war ended, or until the time she would be married. Deadpool and Shiklah meet in Dracula's Gauntlet, when Deadpool is hired inspired by Dracula, the Lord of Vampires in the modern era, who resides in the underground Manhattan, the monster city of Metropolis. Dracula orders Deadpool to bring Shiklah's coffin to him so that he can awaken her and end the old feud by marrying her. Together, they would take over her old lands, uniting them with his monster world. Deadpool traveled to the Arabian Peninsula and rescued Shiklah's coffin before a group of monsters could destroy it. While traveling through Greece, he got into a fight with the Minotaur, and the coffin shattered, awakening Shiklah and her pet dragon, Bug. She tried to repay Deadpool by sucking the life force from him, but due to his healing properties, she failed. She then followed him to Paris, where they were stopped by Blade, who had been trying to convince Deadpool that Shiklah was a monster so he would give her up. A fight ensued and Shiklah helped him defeat Blade. The two started bonding while on the journey as they took a tour of Paris and fought all the obstacles together. Shiklah saved Deadpool from the possession of Templar Ghost and confessed her feelings for him, but Deadpool was worried that, like all his past relationships, this would also be disastrous, so he pushed her away. But after fighting another threat from MODOK, mental organism designed only for killing, and saving Shiklah, Deadpool gave up on resisting his feelings. The two got married after arriving in New York and gathered both of their allies to fight Dracula, eventually forcing him out of Metropolis. Shiklah started learning about the modern world while ruling Metropolis and balancing her married life with Deadpool. Shiklah loved Deadpool for his unique personality, while Deadpool found solace in her acceptance of his weirdness. However, their marriage started crumbling when both their priorities stopped aligning, with Deadpool's preference for the human world and Shiklah's disdain towards humanity. In the Spider-Man Deadpool series, Deadpool is able to heal his face, but Shiklah hates how it looks, so he burns it off for her approval. Side effects of marrying a monster. She starts hating how Deadpool became one of the good guys, and disapproves of his friendship with Spider-Man. Deadpool's reckless behavior and negligence also led Shiklah to find different lovers for her own satisfaction. The tipping point for Shiklah came in Till Death Do Us, when one of her monsters named Farkas wandered off Metropolis to Manhattan and got killed by the bystanders, prompting her to invade Manhattan. She gathered her armies to expand her kingdom and wage war on the human world. In an attempt to stop her, Deadpool went to coax Dracula out of his slumber and joined teams to fight back. Dracula joins Deadpool with his army, only to propose to Shiklah as soon as he meets her. Deadpool isn't happy, but the two end things on a good note. The monsters don't want Shiklah as their queen, and she accepts their decision, citing that she doesn't want to forcefully rule them, and leaves with Dracula, who has already retired. Well, that was a bittersweet goodbye. Niagara Bride, wife. A woman known only as Niagara Bride found out that she had cancer. Refusing to let the illness win over her life, she hired Deadpool to fake her murder, as she wanted to check out on her own terms. The two got married at Niagara Falls, where Deadpool poisoned her and made it look like he had targeted and murdered her, making himself a monster for the world while never revealing his good deeds. Satana Hellstrom, wife. Born to the demon Marduk and the mortal named Victoria, Satana had a keen interest in black magic since childhood. When Victoria discovered her performing rituals with Marduk in the basement, and upon seeing her husband transform into a demon, she went mad and got admitted to an asylum for life. Marduk took Satana with him to hell, where he could train her in demonic powers, leaving his elder son, Daimon, in the care of the servants. With the hellish training, she becomes one of the strongest sorcerers and succubus who feeds on the souls of people, killing people with a kiss. She has superhuman strength, durability, ability to levitate with the help of wings, astral projection, and many more remarkable skills that make her a powerful demon, with both beauty and magical powers. She goes on several adventures associated with Doctor Strange, Luke Cage, Man-Thing, Blade, and other characters. She can be viewed as both a villain and an anti-heroine of the Marvel Universe. In the course of Marvel's Deadpool team-up series number 892, now the Princess of Hell, she loses her soul to a bunch of nerds during the poker game. With no one in sight for help, she resorts to turning to Deadpool. The geeks turn out to be the disguised demonic denizens, who want to be the heirs of hell by marrying the devil's daughter. Deadpool devises a plan to get Satana's soul back from the demons by binding their souls together and marrying her. The demons remark that their marriage will only be valid till death and prepare to kill Deadpool. Satana uses Deadpool's soul to strengthen his sword, which he uses to win over the demons. Satana then slips off, leaving behind a letter for Deadpool explaining their divorce. As an entitlement to divorce, she keeps half of Deadpool's soul. Mercedes Wilson, wife. First appearing in Deadpool Volume 3, 2014, Mercedes is introduced as Wade Wilson's wife before he became Deadpool. From Deadpool's point of view, while they were happily married, they once found a man in the river named Jack and nursed him back to life. Jack befriended the couple but later killed Mercedes. Deadpool believed she was dead until T-Ray, Deadpool's powerful rival, resurrected her, apparently to mess with him. In the complex events of manipulation and deception, it's unclear whom she was married to, as T-Ray claims that he's the real Wade Wilson and Deadpool has stolen known his identity. According to him, Deadpool is the guy named Jack who killed Mercedes, which was too much for his mind to handle. So he, Jack, started believing that he was Wade Wilson and began training to avenge Mercedes' death, as a result becoming Deadpool. T-Ray, supposedly really Wade Wilson, also wanted to get revenge, so he began training in voodoo, finally taking the name T-Ray, who resurrected everyone Wade had killed, including Mercedes. This story almost makes Wade lose his mind, before he comes to his senses and exclaims the past doesn't matter, as he's now trying to be a better man. A fight ensues, and Mercedes helps Deadpool defeat T-Ray. When he apologizes to her, she kicks him right on the spot. She clearly believes in T-Ray's story and leaves with him after he bids Deadpool a final goodbye, saying that he's done and Deadpool can keep the name Wade, concluding his revenge. Gretchen Wilson, wife. Not much is known about Gretchen Wilson, as she's only mentioned as Deadpool's former wife, and we only get to see his picture. Vanessa Carlysle, wife. Vanessa plays a prominent role in Deadpool's story, especially in the films. Also known as Copycat, Vanessa lived with Wade many years ago, and the two were likely married when he was working as an assassin. She's Deadpool's love interest in the Marvel film adaptation, being the only hope of home and a normal life for him. Although she's depicted as an average human in the films, she has a much more vibrant personality in the comics. Born with the mutant ability to shapeshift into anyone, even copying their powers, she became a prostitute in Boston before meeting Wade Wilson. After their breakup, she became a mercenary and was employed by Tolliver, an arms dealer. She worked for various organizations using her shapeshifting abilities as a spy, and came face to face with Deadpool during many of her missions. She often went against him, but Deadpool always recognized her behind her shapeshifting facade. He was initially very harsh towards her, even trying to kill her until the latter series, where he softens up to her. She eventually joined the Weapon X project, which started affecting her memory, making her lose track of her missions. She became closer to Deadpool, and the two even had a short-lived relationship where she would surprise him by taking the form of different women. Weapon X recruited Deadpool to kill Copycat, but he refused the mission and warned her about the threat. Weapon X then sent Kane to kill Deadpool and Copycat, and after a long fight, Deadpool survived and Copycat died in his arms. Deadpool went down a delusional hole and started believing that he married a sock puppet that looked like Vanessa, who got killed during a mission, which helped him finally accept her death. Unbeknownst to him though, Vanessa had survived and watched over him as a street food owner. She left after making sure Deadpool was recovering. Orksa, wife. An associate of Funzel Intergalactic Towing and Recovery, Orksa was first featured in Deadpool Volume 4, 2011. She got married to a line of men named Axel, Jody, and Macho Gomez, even tattooing their names on her arm. Unbeknownst to her, an employee at Funzel named Ob had been in love with Orksa. Deadpool came to Funzel Station and confessed to killing her husband, Macho Gomez. This rightfully enraged Orksa, and she began beating up Deadpool, who, in an attempt to calm her down, planted a kiss on her. She mistook it for a marriage proposal and gleefully accepted him as her husband. Following their marriage, Ob plotted to get rid of Deadpool. Orksa suspected this and went to help Deadpool. In a weird turn of events, Ob ended up confessing his feelings for Orksa to Deadpool, who devised a plan that involved cutting off his limbs to fit both of them into an escape rocket. He eventually made Orksa realize that she also had feelings for Ob, and a few days after regaining his limbs, he left the Lovebirds and returned to Earth. Inez Temple, wife. Also known as Outlaw, Inez Temple is a mutant with enhanced physical abilities, who first appeared in Deadpool Volume 2, number 65, 2002. She possessed superhuman strength, stamina, durability, and even healing abilities. She met Deadpool at a gym where the two casually flirted before crossing paths several more times. Inez fell in love with Agent X, who was too much like Deadpool with his healing powers, personality, and scars. Everyone thought that he was Deadpool with amnesia, as Deadpool was believed to have gone missing at the time. Their relationship ended when Agent X cheated on her with his secretary. Still, she stayed as an essential member of his Agency X. Deadpool soon came back, and their casual flirting continued. She helped him fight the Punisher, during which her apartment was destroyed. Deadpool later bought her a new apartment and realized that he genuinely cared for her. Although Agent X warned Deadpool about Inez's super strength, the two still got married. Their honeymoon turned out to be a disaster, with Deadpool's healing powers failing against Inez's strength, resulting in his pelvis being broken several times into 1,000 pieces. He was so miserable that he begged Rhino to step on his face so that he could get out of the honeymoon of horror. Their marriage was annulled soon after, but they remained casually involved in several other comics. She often exclaimed that she had his baby, showing him a baby doll as his kid. In Deadpool Pulp, Inez is a fugitive who's accused of stealing atomic bomb equipment, and Deadpool has to kill her in order to save the US from a nuclear explosion. Raven Darkholme, wife. Also known as Mystique, Raven Darkholme has the ability to shapeshift into anyone she wants. She has high speed, enhanced strength, accelerated healing, and slowed aging ability. She's been associated with various groups like the Brotherhood of Mutants and the X-Men, often shifting her allegiance, being both a villain and an anti-hero. First appearing in 1976, Mystique is a prominent part of the Marvel Universe, appearing in numerous comics and film adaptations. She's been romantically involved with multiple characters, including Wolverine and Iceman, and even married a few, like Destiny, her first wife, and Christian Wagner. In Deadpool Volume 527, Deadpool narrates several flashbacks of his multiple marriages involving women from his past, such as Shiklah, Inez, and Niagara Bride. Although Mystique had rarely crossed paths with Deadpool, she's strangely included in this list. In one of the scenes, Deadpool barges into a bar and asks the bartender for a beer. He starts telling him about one of his failed marriages to a woman named Lurleen, whom he married a few hours after meeting. He took her to the Weapon X facility, where she proved to be really dumb and ran away after throwing up on Agent Jackson. It turns out that the bartender is Mystique, who also posed as the dumb Lurleen to marry Deadpool so that she can infiltrate Weapon X and steal the mutant files. She thinks Deadpool has come to fight her, but he just asks her to sign the divorce papers and leaves. Eleanor Camacho, daughter. Born to Deadpool and Carmelita Camacho after a one-night stand, Eleanor was raised by her mother, while Deadpool didn't even know Carmelita was pregnant. Several years later, Carmelita tracked Deadpool down and asked for child support, but Deadpool refused to believe that he could have such an innocent and beautiful daughter. The butler later kidnapped Carmelita and Eleanor and brought them to North Korea as an insurance policy for Deadpool quitting his program. Deadpool was also kidnapped, and when he found out about Eleanor, he started looking for her, freeing Camp 23, where they were kept, but only found Carmelita's body while Eleanor was gone. He decided not to look for her as he didn't want to bring more misery into her life. Unbeknownst to him, Butler had given Eleanor to his brother Joshua, lying that he had rescued her from an abusive family. One of Deadpool's friends, Emily Preston, had a vision that Eleanor was still alive, and upon investigating, he found that she was being raised by Joshua. He went to meet her, but Joshua overheard the two of them talking and confronted Emily, who claimed that she was there because of a missing person. Joshua demanded a warrant for interrogation and asked her to leave. He decided to run away with Eleanor, but before they could go, their house got broken into by ultimatum agents. The two were still able to take a train to Chicago, where Joshua gets tricked by an ultimatum agent. Eleanor was taken away while Joshua suffered a heart attack. However, Deadpool, disguised as one of the agents, rescued Eleanor. With the help of Quentin Quire, he declared Eleanor dead, and to keep her safe, gave her a different identity before sending her to live with Preston's family, while keeping a watch over her from afar. Quentin offered to have Eleanor's mind altered to save her from all the trauma, but Deadpool decided to let Eleanor's psyche heal with time. Itsy Bitsy, clone daughter. A persistent rival of Deadpool and Spider-Man, Patient Zero was adamant about taking revenge. He injected both of their genetic material into a willing test subject who was named Susan Mary, in hopes of sending her against them. She gained both of their powers, along with multiple arms and eyes and blue skin. She was able to strengthen her spider web to use it as a weapon, and could even spit acid. Despite Patient Zero's plan, Susan viewed Deadpool and Spider-Man as her dads and wanted to join them in their missions. She showed her capabilities and intervened in their fight with hateful Hexad, and killed 3 of his members while singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider rhyme, prompting Spider-Man to name her Itsy Bitsy. She refused to help Patient Zero in killing Spider-Man and killed him instead, and went to her dads to convince them that she was on their side. The dads, however, didn't accept her due to her violent behavior, turning her against them as she started trying to kill them. Eventually, the two disintegrated her with a plasma breeder, but unbeknownst to them, she survived as an Itsy Bitsy spider slowly growing back. Squirrel Pool, clone daughter. At an abandoned Avengers hideout, Deadpool and Squirrel Girl once used a teleporter together. The malfunctioning teleporter created their offspring, Squirrel Pool. She came out as a weird mix of both of them and their clothes. She possessed both of their powers, with Deadpool's use of weapons and Squirrel Girl's strong claws and teeth. A fight ensued between Deadpool's team and Squirrel Pool, following which the parents accepted her as their daughter, and she got teleported away by them. A while later, Squirrel Pool kidnapped both of her parents and forced them into the teleporter, demanding to have a sibling. But when a group of demons arrived, she used the teleporter's power to send them away, accepting her only child status. Master Matrix, son. The Master Matrix is a life model decoy who was designed as a weapon, but was reassembled and kept in an inactive state for years, in a secured underground shield bunker. That is, until the infamous villain Chameleon activates him to wipe out humanity. He has superhuman strength and durability. Contrary to his mission, while trying to destroy the world, Matrix has a change of heart and decides to help Spider-Man and Deadpool stop Chameleon from succeeding. He then asks the heroes to adopt him, and the two help him become a hero, even taking him on several crucial missions. Matrix eventually found his calling working as a director of photography in Hollywood. Deathpool, daughter. Although not introduced by the comic books, Deathpool still marks one of the marvelous offspring of Deadpool. Born to Deadpool and Death, she looks like her mother but acts like her goofy father. She wears her mother's hood with a suit that looks similar to Deadpool's, but in a different color theme, and Deadpool's logo on the belt. She's a much more powerful version of her parents, possessing cosmic power, with the abilities of energy manipulation, teleportation, passing through objects, traveling through dimensions, and of course, the ability to make sarcastic remarks. The great villain Thanos was hopelessly in love with Death, and always tried to woo her, even killing people in her name, which instead of impressing her, only made her repulsed by him. While rejecting Thanos' affection, Death was attracted to our beloved Merc with a mouth, and an unexpected romance blossomed between the two, which resulted in the birth of Deathpool. However, after being born, her mother inevitably vanished from existence to maintain the cosmic balance, leaving her to be raised by Deadpool. When Thanos found out about her existence and his long-lost love's demise, he became so enraged that he decided to kill every version of Deadpool across the multiverse. Hence, the game involves Deathpool chasing Thanos across the multiverse to stop him in his mission, and him once and for all. Deadpool 2099, Daughter. In the usual timeline, Deadpool and Shiklah's relationship doesn't work out as she finally leaves Deadpool for Dracula. But in the version of Marvel's 2099 future timeline, Deadpool and Shiklah have a daughter named Warda Wilson, also known as Deadpool 2099. Wade has no idea of her existence as he split up with Shiklah before Warda was born. She grows up to be a powerful entity, with the powers of healing and control of dangerous monsters from the underworld. One day when Shiklah goes missing out of the blue, Warda tracks down Deadpool, believing that he had something to do with her disappearance. Deadpool claims that he has no memory of what happened to Shiklah, and unsatisfied with his answers, she imprisons him for decades, torturing him by forcing him to watch C-SPAN on repeat. Soon, Ellie arrives to save her father, but gets killed by one of Shiklah in a gruesome manner, which only works in her favor. Deadpool then exclaims that Shiklah should have never been released from the coffin in the first place, explaining to Warda that he sealed Shiklah back in the coffin because she wanted to overtake the world. This still doesn't calm Warda as she grows even more angry, and Wade resorts to his final plan. In an attempt to tone down her violent behavior, Deadpool uploads Emily Preston's digital consciousness into Warda's mind. After the initial shock wears off, Warda becomes a calmed down version of herself and eventually starts accepting her new family. Later, during one of their family dinners, Wade finally remembers where he put Shiklah's coffin. After he defeated Shiklah with the help of other heroes, he sealed her and used PIM particles on the coffin to shrink it down and put it in the safest place, that is, his heart. In another 2099 future, Warda joins the X-Men, becoming a hero and living the life her father always wanted for himself. Zenpool 2099, Daughter. In the future timeline of 2099, in Deadpool Volume 6, 2016, Ellie Preston, the adopted daughter of Emily Preston and Wade Wilson, becomes Zenpool 2099. She's now 82 years old, and her main role in this timeline comes when Warda Wilson kidnaps and tortures Deadpool. As a result, his memories start to deteriorate, and he believes that Ellie is dead. Warda takes Deadpool's identity, calling herself Deadpool 2099, and he hides Emily Preston's holodrive, where she now exists as a digital consciousness. After finding out about her father's kidnapping, Ellie arrives to rescue her parents, first stealing back her mother's consciousness and then freeing Deadpool from the decades-long torture. Seeing Ellie brings back many of Deadpool's long-lost memories, and he recalls that Ellie doesn't have any superpowers. Ellie then attacks Warda in a fit of rage for taking her father's name, Deadpool, staining his reputation and torturing him. Warda, however, overpowers her and threatens to command her monsters to kill people. Ellie comes to her senses and, under Warda's command, asks Wade to let Warda have her mother. But Wade would rather fight his daughter than risk unleashing Shiklah into the world again. Enraged at him, Warda stabs Ellie with a sword and forces Wade to watch as she uses liquid napalm to torture her alive. She then takes him to Metropolis, while, unbeknownst to her, Ellie begins resurrecting back to life and transforms into her teenage self. This reveals that although she doesn't share Wade's healing properties, she does have the power of resurrection immortality, where she goes back to becoming a teenager after being killed. She then rescues her father, and the family is reunited. Ellie has also battled the hatred she felt for Wade in the past, so she promises to help Warda deal with these issues. We get to see their future as the trio goes on adventures together. Marvelous verdict. So that was an elaborate list of Deadpool's family members. It sure changes your perspective if you only watch the films. I still can't get over the fact that this list mentions 10 Mrs. Wilsons. Deadpool will never be the same. With his dark humor and self-awareness, I think Deadpool has definitely cemented his place as one of the most loved characters in the Marvel Universe. What do you think about Deadpool's scattered family? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!